Hi, my name is Christy Eidson, and I'm a stand-up comedian, actor, and a writer. I've been doing stand-up. My first open mic I did probably 99. First time I ever got on stage, and it was a learning experience, and I was not nearly as prepared as I thought that I would be. It took several years, but then I finally got to where I was becoming a paid comedian. It's not going to happen overnight. But I'm here to give you tips on how to start stand-up comedy. Well, if you are new to stand-up, if you've never done an open mic even, or you've only done a few, if you've been doing it, say, maybe even a year or two, there's some common mistakes that a lot of new comics make. And I am here to show you the top 10 most often made mistakes by new comedians. Number one, lack of confidence. I see so many times people will get up on stage and say, oh, this is the first time I'm on stage, I'm probably not going to be funny. Well, you're setting yourself up for failure right there. Why didn't you just tell them to go ahead and turn their seats around and not pay you any attention? Because that's what you've just done. I'm not saying be an arrogant tool, but when you get up on stage, you have to elude some sort of confidence, like you know you're supposed to be there, at least in what you're saying. Deprivating humor is not the same as downgrading yourself. For instance, if you get up on stage, like I just said, and, oh, I'm not that funny, sorry, then you're setting yourself up for failure. That is not the same as deprivating humor, where you're putting yourself at the butt of a joke. That is completely acceptable, but downplaying yourself before you even get the first words out of your mouth, stay away from doing that. One thing I know I've seen so many do, and I've probably been guilty of it when I started as well, is starting off with a new joke. Don't ever do that. Even if it's an open mic, don't ever do that. Start with your strongest or second strongest joke. Start strong because you want to engage the audience. You want to get their attention. And if you start off weak, it's hard to get them back. You start off strong, and then you have a weak joke, it's still going to be easier to get them back on track with you and get them on your side. Sometimes when you write something down, it may sound brilliant in your head, but then once it comes out of your mouth, not so much. So that's where rehearsal and writing is so important. Number two, not recording your sets. A lot of times, especially when you're starting out, or depending on the room, if the lighting is weird, you can't see the audience. Sometimes you can't even hear the audience. So you're not even sure that you're hearing any laughs at all. So recording your set is crucial, because you may say something on stage that you said as an ad-lib, but it really worked, but then when you're home later on that night or the next day, you're like, what was it? What did I say? If you recorded your set, you can go back on it and listen to it. You can also gauge how the audience responded to each of your jokes. You can listen to your delivery. Was it too fast? Did you step on laughs? Which brings me to number three, bad microphone habits. When you get on stage, after you've shook the host's hand or said hello to the host, fist bumped him, whatever you do, if you don't feel confident with a mic stand, take the mic out. When you can, videotape your sets. Hearing the audio is great, but seeing your actual body language on stage, you're going to pick up on bad habits you didn't even realize you had. Nothing irritates me more than seeing people walking without purpose on the stage, just pacing back and forth. If you've ever seen a tiger or a lion in a cage pacing back and forth, it's frustrating. It makes the audience uncomfortable. It shows me that you're uncomfortable and not confident, going back to number one. Nothing makes you look more like an amateur than when you get up on stage and you're fumbling, trying to get the mic stand to the right height if you're not the same height as the host. You're going to be fumbling and fooling around with it, and you're going to look like an amateur, and it's going to eat up a lot of your time on stage. So unless you know what you're doing, lowering and raising a mic stand, just take the mic out of the stand. Do not leave the mic there, the mic stand there. Take the mic stand, move it off to the side and behind you. So it's not in your way, you're not going to stumble over it. It's not blocking you and the audience. Because I know that thing is thin, but it's a distraction. It's keeping you away from engaging with your audience. So just move it out of the way. Another thing, quit playing with the cable. Nothing is more distracting than seeing somebody playing around, fiddling with a cable. Sometimes it looks like someone's a cowboy trying to rope cattle with a mic cable. Leave it alone. Quit playing with it. I'm not paying attention to you and what you're saying. I'm paying attention to what you're doing with this cable. Stop. Now, when you're done with your set and they're laughing, you're waiting for the host to come back up, take the stand, put it back, put the microphone in it. By the time the host is coming up, you're doing your exits with him and you're off the stage. Don't talk too fast. No matter how slow you think that you're talking, cut it in half, because you're always talking faster than you think you're talking. And what that does is it keeps the audience from being able to digest what you're saying. So you're going to miss some laugh opportunities because they just haven't caught up to your mouth yet. The ear does not work as quickly as the mouth does. So slow it down. And with that as well, you'll see a lot of comics that are new, and even seasoned ones sometimes do it because they're excited about a new bit. You'll step on your laughs. So premise, setup, punchline, laugh. Give it a minute. Let the audience laugh. Let them experience you and what you've just said. Another thing is when you're writing, use an economy of words. Sometimes jokes are just too long. You've put words in there you don't need. You've made the joke longer than it needs to be. If you're not a storyteller, don't tell a story. When you write a joke, look at it. Every word, look at it and see, are these words necessary? Are there any words that I can take out of here and it still be relevant and my point still get across? As much as I hate to say it, one thing that I cannot stand, besides stealing jokes, which you should never do it. You shouldn't even be told not to steal a joke. I've seen so many comedians that get up and they start doing jokes that they read on the internet, or that's not how that works. You know, you're the equivalent of going to karaoke and singing somebody else's instead of going to an open mic at writer's night and doing. Just go ahead and be funny to your friends. If you're going to an open mic is to display your talent and your work and your material, not someone else's. It's okay to look at other people's material. It's okay to watch other comics, but don't take their work. There may be a lot of premises that are similar ideas. That's fine. There's linear thinking. Linear thinking is absolutely fine. But don't take somebody's joke. Because I got to tell you, somebody will call you out on it, and you're going to feel like a jerk. And you may get blacklisted from comedy clubs for doing that. Almost as bad are hack jokes. I don't know how many more dick and Viagra jokes there can be made. Unless you have a unique point of view, unless you have something super special to add to a genre like that, stay away from it. It's been done. It's not showing you as a person. It's not showing your personality. So stay away from hack jokes. It's done. Another thing that's a red flag that you're a novice is bringing notes up on stage. And you've got comics that are, oh, no, it's fine. I saw, Chris Rock bring some notes up when he was working on his special. Yeah, he was working on a special. He probably had just written that stuff that day. Unless you're Chris Rock, don't bring your notes up. You've had plenty of time to memorize that little bit that you're going to need for an open mic. Because if you're under the impression that you need 15, 20 minutes for an open mic, you are under the wrong impression. At the most, starting out, you're going to get anywhere from 3 to 7 minutes, especially if it's a booked show. That would piss me off if I've booked you to a show and you're bringing notes up. No, that's a very novice, amateur thing to do, so do not do that. No notes. When you're done with your set, if you want to blend in with everybody else, say, that's my time, bye. Everyone says that. It does not make you stand out. You get tired of hearing it, just like when you get on stage saying, how's everybody doing tonight? Every other comic before you said that. Every other comic before you've said, that's my time. Say something a little bit more original. Either address the audience or when you're leaving, be like, My name's Christy. Thank you so much. Have a good rest of the night. You say your name. Let them remember who you are again. Let that name sink in with the audience to you. And the worst of the 10 Commandments of what to not do as a new comic, run the light. If the host has told you at the beginning, you've got 5 minutes, we're going to give you a light at 4. When you get that light at 4, wrap up the joke that you're working on. Say your name, get off. If you've started a new bit, when you get that light, unless you know you can finish it in 30 seconds, cut it and get off. What that is, it's disrespectful to the audience. It's disrespectful to the club owner, to the booker, to the host, and most importantly, the other comedians. There's nothing worse than doing a show that should be an hour-and-a-half show, but it goes on to 2.5 hours because everybody is going over their time. I know you think your set was the one that was killing, but if you want to get back on that show again, don't run that light, because they're going to make a mental note that you've done that and that you have a habit of doing that, and they may not ask you back on that show again. But they're going to remember when you were respectful to the time and you got the hell off of there in and under your time frame. So these are just a few tips if you're starting out at stand-up comedy, you've never done it, you've never got on stage, you've thought about it, maybe you've done it for a year or two. These are common mistakes everybody's made. Again, these are common mistakes, not a big deal. Don't beat yourself up about it, but keep those in mind when you're up on stage. Now go and break a leg.